Beware, I live.
Welcome to the new RiverCityGamers Podcast, hosted by SCXCR and Well Unreal 007, as well as many other members from the RiverCityGamers website. Stay tuned for all the gaming news, new pickups, and everything else we feel like talking about on the RiverCityGamers Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the RiverCityGamers Podcast. I'm SCXCR!
Did he die? Overblood killed him. I am unreal, but... I'm CanadianJutsu.
I'm Blondeguygamer. I'm not giving you the gimmicks. I'm still not doing it.
It's your right.
Anyway, if these guys will eventually come back, we can start with gaming news and such.
Gaming news! So real.
Well, I'd actually like to start gaming news with a brief congratulations. Did I say congratulation or congratulations?
You said congratulations.
You were going Ghostbusters. Yeah, you were going Ghostbusters NES ending there.
Well, congratulations PS4, you have a great game, Horizon Zero Dawn. Over 7.6 million copies shipped worldwide.
Wow.
Ooh. I bet
That's an exclusive.
Yeah, I bet the complete edition that came out not so long ago helped with that too. That's what I ended up getting.
Actually, that's what I was thinking of picking up too. I still haven't played it.
You should. It's good. It's a good game. I haven't played much of it, but it is good. And the complete edition comes with like the DLC, Frozen Wastelands or Wilds. Sorry, I don't know why I said Wastelands. Frozen Wilds.
Yeah, I beat the game last year. It is good. Like, I'm probably one of the weird guys, but like by the time I finished the game and platinumed it, I'm like, this was good, but Game of the Year? I don't know.
It didn't win Game of the Year though.
No, I mean like just like being considered for it, because like I enjoyed it, but I think I got fatigued near the end, and I think that did hamper.
Well, it probably didn't help that game came out like roughly the same time Breath of the Wild did, and Breath of the Wild is another big open world game. So if you play both those games back to back, you would probably get just a little bit burnt out, especially from like open world type games.
I believe I had like quite a few months gap between then. By the way,
that's still like two.
It's still the same year.
Yeah.
That's pretty nuts.
Yeah, but it is still good that this game did well on its own for PS4, despite the fact that it was released along with another huge game that also sold millions.
Yeah, and it's also good considering that it. Again, you said it was a new IP, but it's by the Killzone dudes, who their last game was the launch title for the PS4, Killzone Shadowfall.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Is that their official name of their development studio, Killzone Dudes Interactive?
No, but they're Guerrilla Games. But they may as well have been Killzone Dudes Interactive, but then they came out with Horizon, which is...
I like God of War series productions. It's great. But yeah, no, from what I gather, though, they like Blondie was saying that it's the launch window with Breath of the Wild, but I think they're fundamentally very different open world games from what I gather. Because as much as I love Breath of the Wild, it didn't have as much story as I would have particularly liked. So Horizon Zero Dawn seems like it has like a really good meaty story to it.
It does.
Sorry, but like the only main differences between them is like they're both open world and they both have bows. They all function differently. They all feel different, and both have different aspects go in for them, and that does set them apart.
Yeah,
because this game does have more narrative going for it, and it has a vastly different setting too. It is also kind of a post-apocalyptic setting, but set much more distant in the future.
Yeah,
and it's more science fiction based, and that everything kind of it's robotic, but nature at the same time. It like reverts to like a more of a bit of a primal setting with like robots. It's interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like what do they call it, like post-apocalyptic or something like that, where it's like
I don't know, but
I don't know if that would be considered spoilers or not.
Honestly. Oh, let's not get into something like that. If you have to, I always had the philosophy if you are questioning whether or not it's spoilers, it most likely could be spoilers to somebody, right?
Yeah, considering like,
I'm only saying.
Lonnie, did you finish the game?
No, I've only played a few hours of it, but
Okay, I guess I'm the only one here that's finished the game then. All right.
yeah, but I'm just saying. I was just explaining just the basic premise and how different it is compared to like Breath of the Wild.
Yeah. Where it takes place in the future too, technically.
Well, yeah, like 100 years, but it's like,
Yeah, don't even get into
But it's not
timeline
thousands of
shenanigans.
years for
but
robot
still,
times.
but it's still Hyrule. It's still that fantasy setting.
Mhm.
So
Oh well, I'm definitely gonna give it a shot when the collector's edition probably goes a little bit cheaper. It goes on sale.
it was
Pick it
only
up
like
around Christmas or. Actually, isn't there going to be some March break stuff pretty soon?
I wouldn't know, but initially the collector's edition was like $50 or $60, something like that. So it wasn't exactly full price.
Oh, after the beginning of this year, my game budget is broken.
No,
It's
fair
up.
enough,
I'm
but
still trying to put that fire out.
yeah,
I guess now would be the time to play it, just due to the fact that Monster Hunter World just got the like alloy skin, right?
yeah, that's true. PS4 copies of Monster Hunter World does have let you get access Horizon Zero Dawn content in the form of the event quests. You can actually get Alloy's bow. You can dress up your cat companion, the Palicos, as kind of like one of those little robots from the game. And there's even an Alloy skin armor set.
I like how you're pronouncing Aloy's name the way you like probably would have, because it's supposed to be like, you know.
Well,
metallic
if you
alloy.
actually say alloy, it should have 2 L's in it.
Yeah, but in the game it's all Aloy. But then you're just one
that
letter off
that
from
pronunciation does.
stupid fun.
I know that throws me off, that pronunciation, but
Yeah, then there's Rost, which is like Rust, but like come on. Like, give me a break.
It's just a fancy twist on like, Alloy and Rust, because it's like, robotic post world,
I'm sure they all were clever and giggling in the background. So like, I can't wait for people to mispronounce this. I mean, we have hard confirmation now that it's pronounced mana, not mana.
Bullshit. No, we don't.
I don't know.
We were
Secret of
talking
Mana
about
says
that
Secret of
before.
Mana.
We were
Man.
talking about that before the podcast. It's like, well, I pronounce it both ways because they can't make up their fucking mind. Jesus.
tomato.
That's the one thing Bloody War 4 got right, is pronouncing mana.
But remember, automata.
Ugh.
Oh god.
Before we go even further down that rabbit hole, let's just move on. I realize we've gotten into the habit of doing like PSAs of sort with this podcast, but here's another one. PlayStation Plus is going to stop offering PS3 and Vita games in 2019.
Oh no. But isn't it like, I thought that was linked to like the PlayStation Now stuff. Like it's not actual full-fledged PS3 games that you can buy. Or is that on the PlayStation Network PS3 thing?
No, it's like the monthly PlayStation Plus stuff where you could just get free games as long as you continue your subscription. They're gonna stop offering free PS3 and Vita games.
Oh, okay,
starting
so-
next year.
So you
Yeah.
can still
The ones
download-
that you own, you can still download, and if it's not on PlayStation Plus, you can still get it off the store through normal means.
Ah, okay.
Like they're not shutting down that stuff. It's not going to be on monthly offer anymore as of next year.
Yeah, so not quite a Wii Shop Channel situation.
Although, even though I have like PlayStation Plus, I never really bothered to get those free games because I have enough games as it is, so I don't want to like just add even more to it, and some games would take forever for me to download anyway. So
I pick and
that's just me.
choose. Like I'm really picky because I still like the philosophy of having like a hard copy in my hand. So only when it's like certain things like Rhyme is just I think there's only a couple days left to pick it up. And Knacked are right now on the PS4, and I'm like, oh, I'll actually add Rhyme to my collection because I don't know if I really particularly want like a physical copy of it, but I do want to play it. And something like next month with Bloodborne, it'd be great to finally have that because I have a disc copy of it, but for some reason my PlayStation hates reading it. So it's like it gets to the start screen and then it says disk error. So having the digital copy of it, I can actually play Bloodborne again.
Oh,
So-
truly, it must be a really hard game if you can't pass the start screen, right?
I know, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's got this crazy health bar. It goes the screen goes blue and then my PlayStation turns off. So someone's got to tell me how to beat it.
I don't know, man.
No.
Yeah, I mentioned before I haven't played any of the Dark Souls games or Souls-like games, but have you ever played Yakuza?
The name sounds kind of familiar, but I'm gonna go with a solid no.
A hard no. Never heard of it.
Yeah.
Oh, I should have said the whole name. Donkey Kong 3 Yakuza.
Now that I haven't played
Is this like a Japanese version of Donkey Kong 3?
on Genesis. Is it on Genesis?
Why would it be on Genesis?
Because those things are sometimes on Genesis.
So here's the story. In the 80s, Nintendo properties were licensed out to a bunch of developers and made like sequels and spin-offs and shit. And this game was developed by Hudson Soft for Japanese home computers. And this and like other pretty rare games are being salvaged in emulator form, so people can play these super rare Japanese games. Like this one in particular, the people who saved it had to get a copy of it in an online auction for $415. And that'll show you how far some people are willing to go to preserve video game history.
Yeah, no kidding. Especially when it's like a Japanese PC version of a game of like Donkey Kong Country 3 that I'm sure none of us ever even knew existed until now.
It's not Country 3.
Or sorry, Donkey Kong 3. I know, but that's what I meant to say.
Isn't that Junior? Isn't Junior Donkey Kong 3?
Junior is like 2.
Oh, it's 2. Okay.
Yeah, because it came out after Donkey Kong.
Yeah, this game it's basically Space Invaders style.
All I know from Donkey Kong 3 is that you just bug spray up Donkey Kong's butt and he goes headfirst into a hive. Yeah, that's the game.
What a great image you just put in my head.
That is literally the game, though.
Hey, it's accurate. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
Is it weird that I'm more familiar with the Game & Watch Gallery version than I am with like any other version?
Nah, well, this was just like Japan only for a while, so I'd say no.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure that game was on like NES and stuff too.
Well, it's sort of like that situation with that like exclusive like Legend of Zelda, like Link to the Past sort of weird ROM thing that was on that.
Yeah, that was the
like the internet connector to the Super Nintendo or whatever.
Yeah, the broadcast satellite Zelda.
Yeah,
I actually have a
came
repro
out.
card of that. I actually have BS Zelda 1 and 2.
Oh wow.
Yeah, one time at Anime North, people were just selling reproduction cards, and I'm like, yeah, I'll buy some. They never came back after that year, and it's made me salty.
I was about to say, I'm like, is that legal?
I don't know. Ask Canada.
I'll get on that.
Well, they were from a repo site, so I'm pretty sure it was fine.
Yeah, I mean, there's no other way that could be properly.
It wasn't shady. They had their own booth up and everything, and they had their.
Well,
own
I'm not saying it was shady. I'm just saying, like,
Is it
do you
legal?
think Nintendo actually has like licensing for that still?
I don't know. It's never gotten re-released.
Yeah, Nintendo's pretty strict when it comes to that type of stuff. So,
Well,
be interested
of
to
course
see
they are.
like if people. I guess obviously people are replaying or like playing it for Let's Plays and stuff like that on YouTube, but. Like, is it going to get copyright stricken? And the same goes for this Donkey Kong 3 as well.
I don't know, but I'm for game preservation, which is why, like, if eventually, since the Wii Shop channel will close, like, excluding Virtual Console, because those are most likely emulated anyways, but, like, being able to, like, emulate WiiWare stuff that may never see the light of day ever again, I would like, you know?
Is this on both the Wii and the Wii U, or is this just the Wii? The Wii
This
one?
is the Wii Shop channel. The
The
Wii,
original Wii.
The Wii
The
U
original
is like,
Wii. Okay.
the Wii U is the eShop, so they're connected to 3DS and Switch. So it's just the
Okay.
shop channel for the old Wii.
Well, video game preservationists are not the only ones who are looking to the past. Because 3D Realms is doing that right now. Have you seen this?
I think I've heard of it.
Yes, I have.
I've heard of it, but I don't think I've seen any of it yet.
How they're using their 22-year-old game engine to make a new game?
What?
Yeah, they're using their build engine to make a new game that's technically a prequel to Bombshell.
Interesting.
Yep, same engine they used for Shadow Warrior and Duke Nukem 3D, they're using to make... Okay, I actually kind of like the title. Ion Maiden.
Ooh.
Yeah, I saw a bit of gameplay of that. It seems like it could be like good.
Is it another like first-person shooter type of thing from like
Yes.
that era? Okay.
Yes.
Yep, they actually have a quote from the 3D Realms vice president on this. It just says, "It doesn't impersonate a 90s game, it is a 90s game."
Oh yeah, it looks straight out of the 90s. Holy cow.
Isn't it like it's not fully out yet, right? It's technically early access.
Yeah, it's not fully out yet.
It kind of reminds me of when I believe it was the Wolfenstein team, like the current team. They actually did a new episode of the original Quake, and they basically made all new levels of Quake. But that's
I think
like
it was just
that's like
like a-
taking like
New episode for it.
yeah. I'm just saying that's a new episode of a game and using all the assets for that. But it's still in essence like using like an old game engine to make something new.
And then there was
That's
that
what
Duke
this is.
3D World Tour thing where they added another like
Another chapter, yeah,
yeah.
that too. But then here instead of making new levels from something that already existed, this is something just completely brand new using that same old engine. So that's really interesting and funny.
Yeah, it is out in early access now. Like, you can actually go to Steam right now to the early access page and you can download it.
Yeah.
I think it came out days ago.
As of
Yeah,
this
but
podcast recording, yeah.
Yeah, or I guess more so.
Well, 3D Realms isn't the only one who's going back to the past to make this... Okay, not shitty games.
Well, no,
Segue. Anyway, Blizzard is also patching a relatively old game, and by relatively old, I mean they're patching Warcraft 3.
Yes, I did hear about that.
Yeah, this is actually kind of an old story, but it's relevant to the previous story, so I figured I'd bring it up. They're patching Warcraft 3 for the first time in over 15 years.
wow.
And the reason they're doing it is they're hosting the first ever Warcraft 3 Invitational.
Just shows you, like, that Blizzard's like, you remember that? I mean, they still support Brood Wars. Like, I don't know if they've actually patched Brood Wars in a really long time, but they were up to like the early 2000s at least.
Yeah, and they also still support Diablo 2.
Oh
Do
yeah.
Do you think this would tease a new Warcraft since they're updating
I
it?
goddamn hope so.
Like
I
an
hope so.
like an RTS style Warcraft.
Yes. All
Oh, you
yes.
mean an actual Warcraft game?
Yeah.
Yes.
Part of me still is salty with World of Warcraft for finishing off Arthas's storyline in an expansion and not having it be a proper RTS.
And for being 500 years old at this rate.
I mean, that's where Warcraft went. So
At least they're not doing to their story what Elder Scrolls Online did to its story.
Well, it doesn't really take place in any of the eras that are currently in the sequential order ones, right? It's just sort of like its own thing, but it's all of Tamriel.
I couldn't tell you that, but my girlfriend, who is a massive Elder Scrolls fan, can tell you, and she will tell you for several hours everything that is wrong with that.
Oh, I know. I heard there's like crazy continuity errors. Like they have screwed up with a lot of the backstory and lore and how things like magic and stuff work. I know. I've heard horror stories about that. But yeah, I'm sure she could probably set me straight on things that I'm also not completely aware of.
Yeah, I haven't touched any Elder Scrolls games since I made Bubsy in Oblivion.
I forgot you did that.
That was, what, a year and a half ago, at least?
Like, did you actually make a mod, or did you actually turn your character into Bubsy and play the game
No, I
as
made
Bubsy?
like one of the cat people and kind of changed his fur pattern to look like Bubsy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like a sheik.
Yeah, that tells you how much I follow Elder Scrolls that I couldn't even remember the name of the race.
I've only
I
played
can tell you what the cat people are in EverQuest, but not in Elder Scrolls. Vashir, by the way.
As you like to sneak.
And I'm going to end this section with a bit of another throwback, although more relevant to modern times. Did any of you guys ever go to Nintendo's website in the mid to late 90s?
I
maybe.
don't think so. Honestly, I don't think so.
I don't really recall if I actually did or not.
I was still
and it didn't
kind of
leave
young
as much of
around
an
that
impact
time.
as we probably want, as you're hoping for. Because I must have, but I don't know.
I
I
remember
don't think
being
I ever did.
advertised.
I was pretty young.
I remember being advertised in Nintendo Power, but
I'm talking about when it had like the code bank on it, where you could pick up
code.
cheats for games, when it had the message boards on it, when it had chat rooms on it.
I remember
which
the
I could
message
never
boards.
connect to.
I remember the message boards, but like I was never really a message board kid. I think the closest thing that I ever got to like diving into message board was Gaia Online. So never been a hopper of those types of things.
I never messed with any of that stuff either.
Well, I just thought I'd bring that. That actually has nothing to do with the current story, but
I was
Okay.
just like, is there like this crazy screenshot that you're going to show us, and we're going to be like, oh my god, my
Or somebody
nostalgia.
brought back the old site or
nope.
something.
But I could link you to Navigator reviewing the Nintendo website. I won't.
Yeah.
Wait, does that exist?
That exists. Brett's pretty
I'm
good
gonna.
at that.
I am gonna watch that fucking later.
I guess you could.
I don't
you
rem- I
may
don't
be able
remember
to
that.
save some of that with the Wayback Machine. It'd be interesting to see.
The really ass-backwards roundabout point I'm getting to with this is that on Nintendo's official website, they're letting players post reviews of Switch games.
Okay.
Like actually, like comment things or videos and stuff like that.
Okay, so the details of this are you can leave a star rating for the game, you can use like tags to describe the title, and you can leave like a series of comments about what you thought of the game.
So is this basically just like a GameFly review?
Sort of. I kind of, aside from it not being thumbs up, thumbs down, I kind of liken it to Steam's system, except Nintendo has another requirement with this, which is two actually. Number one, you have to have a Nintendo account, and number two, you have to have played at least 2 hours of the game you're reviewing.
You know, that's pretty good, because then that kind of reduces down a little bit of the spam. Like when you say something like Nintendo opened their gates to reviews, the first thing that jumps to mind and is penis. That people are going to write the word penis in the reviews over and over and over again. So by having a stipulation of it not only being an account where they can police like what people are typing if they're being absurd or whatever, and then having the 2 hour says that means that they actually played the game. It's not just like a bunch of raving fanboys or counter fanboys, I guess in this case, that are just trying to troll the system.
Yeah, that's also funny considering that you need to play the game for less than 2 hours to be able to refund it on Steam, right?
Right.
So that reduces those kind of reviews where it's just like, I played this for like an hour but then returned it, like you see on Steam all the time.
I beat Bubsy in less than an hour. Here, let me just return it on Steam.
I'm pretty sure that's what most people did when they played the Steam version, I imagine.
Yep.
Well, to be fair, I don't think most of the games that Nintendo was selling would be completable in under 2 hours. I realize that I can probably just look up a bunch of speedruns right now to prove that wrong.
In terms of Switch games, I don't
Well,
know if
I
there
know
are.
Odyssey, if you just go by beating it and not completion's sake, they do it in like under an hour almost at this point. I think it's like an hour, 7 minutes or something like that. I may be completely overestimating that now since it came out.
I'm gonna look up Breath of the Wild speedruns, see how fast those are now.
Well, if it depends on if you just go straight to the castle and just beat the final boss, which you can do apparently.
Yeah. Oh, and that's how the speedruns do it.
80% record right now is 40 minutes.
Yeah. And most of that's spent on the Great Plateau, which is the starting area, which you actually have to complete to get off there. There's a bunch of
Yeah.
like invisible walls and death death zones if you try and get off there early.
I'm gonna look up the 100% time for Breath of the Wild.
Oh god.
100. Oh,
Yeah.
does that include like getting all the Korok seeds and stuff?
Yeah, that's part of the
32 hours!
You know what? Good on him. Good on that guy.
That is dedication.
That's dedication.
Damn.
Is it a single segment? Because that means that guy didn't sleep.
There's a video link.
Oh no.
I'm gonna follow it.
Oh.
I'm gonna put it in the background for the next 32 hours. And that's probably not even optimized. That's just sort of like, here's a map of where all the Koroks are, and he did a relatively general like sweep of the map. Whereas if you like properly routed it, I bet you could get it down to 24 hours.
Oh, probably. For his health, I hope so.
Is he gonna do another one? I don't think so. I tried to do a 24-hour stream maybe 3 or 4 times, and by hour 20, I just couldn't do it.
Oh, I went 24 hours with a bloody roar stream once, and the end was agony, partially because I was playing 4 last.
Oh yeah, that didn't help.
You should have gone backwards.
I should've. But that will do it for gaming news, which leads us into Now Playing. So, who wants to go first with something that they have been playing recently? No one. Good.
I guess I'll go first. Might as well, since I'm on here after a long hiatus period. So I just actually finished platinuming Shadow of the Colossus, the remake that came out last
Welcome
month.
to the Platinum Club.
Yeah, I know. It's Shadow of the Colossus is like my favorite game of all time, so there's just no getting around the fact that I'm going to play it until my fingers are blue. Another thing that I finally got around to doing is I'm a big Final Fantasy XIV player, and back at the end of January when like Monster Hunter and everything else came out, they dropped a new patch for the game, 4.2, and I didn't get around to doing any of the content, whether it be the story or the new raids. So we just finished the new raids. The new raids are awesome. They are inspired by Final Fantasy VI. So you get to face off against the Phantom Train.
Can you suplex it?
No, unfortunately, no. And I was very disappointed that it did not have the evil toot.
So how do you fight the train in 14? Like, are you constantly moving in this one?
Okay,
Like in
so
the 6?
you're on the back of another train, and it's trying to attack you from behind. So it's either parallel to the train you're on, or the front of the train is in the back of the cart that you're on. And then in the Savage mode, the rails are gone, so you can fall off the train. And the animation of you falling off the train is actually hilarious.
The ghost train level from Cuphead. That's what's going through my head right now.
Oh
yeah.
You know what? That's not completely inaccurate. You do get to go into the train cars and fight a bunch of the ghosts from 6, the ones that you would actually, while you're trying to get up to the train. It's part of me kind of wishes that your character was running at like the other characters in Final Fantasy VI, but it would have been a graphical nightmare to try and allow, because like it's an action MMO, so you have a lot of you have a rotation that happens every 2 to 3 seconds. So you have a lot of movement that you do to like dodge AoEs and stuff like that. I can't remember what the second boss was right off the top of my head. Oh, it's that painting. It's called it starts with a C. But that painting boss that had a female side and a demon side, and you can only hurt the demon because you're trying to free the painting, and you have to use like paintbrushes and stuff to like manipulate the battlefield. The next one is called the Enforcer. It's that weird, it used to be called the Anima weapon in Final Fantasy VI, but they changed it to the Enforcer in this one because there's something else in Final Fantasy XIV that's called the Anima weapon.
Oops.
And then you get to fight Kefka as the final boss of the raid, which was just a delight. They spend a lot of the time. I will state though, his model is based off of the Dissidia model.
Gotta reuse those assets.
Well, I mean, that's kind of like just the modern version of it, I imagine.
Yeah, exactly. And he even does the proper laugh too. Like they didn't like change it and gave him voice work or anything. No, he does the actual like 16-bit ruffle copter laugh thing that he does.
So Kappa just goes.
Yeah, I don't know. Like how would you describe that sound?
They also reuse that in Chrono Trigger.
I describe that as dying go-kart.
Dying go-kart. Yeah.
Go-kart.
But yeah, no, I finally got around to doing that. And the story of 14 is really, really good. Like, I think it's probably, arguably, the best Final Fantasy story since some of the earlier ones. Because I think it mostly has to do with the fact that they're able to take their time and properly world build. They have like an entire team that is designed to write and world build for the story. Rather than it just being like, here's the one writer and then a bunch of animators that are trying to make their crazy claims of Lassie and Fal'Cie a reality.
So I have one last question about the Phantom Train.
Yeah.
Can it multi-track drift?
It actually does.
Oh my god!
Now that I think about
You're
it,
joking.
I'm not joking. Like I can show you the fight. When I stream next, I'll hop onto 14 and I'll show you the fight. You can even look it up online. Also, during that entire thing, there's a remix of the Decisive Battle theme playing in the background, and during the Kefka fight, you get the whole thing of Dancing Mad.
That's cool.
Yeah. So it's cool because it takes place in what they call the Omega Rift, which links to Gilgamesh and all that from Final Fantasy V. And like it makes sense that Gilgamesh is in 14 because he's able to hop dimensions and everything like that. So they don't write themselves into a hole sometimes. So they're just like, this is Omega, and he is taking visions of fictional stories or legends and creating them into bosses for you to fight. So it's 14's way of getting around this is actually Kefka, but it's not Kefka in the proper universe. It's created as like a sentient program in a sense, or an interpretation by the Omega computer. It's pretty elaborate. I could go on for hours, but it's just one of those things where I was quite excited that we actually got 6. I was actually kind of hoping for 8. In this patch cycle. I was really hoping to fight like Ultimecia, because there's a lot of bosses from Final Fantasy VIII that are really, really interesting and cool. And then obviously Ultimecia's like multiple forms and stuff would have been really cool as like a final send-off. But maybe that will come when the next raid comes out, probably about 6 months from now. And that's pretty much it. There's nothing that really, other than like playing way too much Monster Hunter.
We've all been playing Monster Hunter, so we can still say yes to that.
Yes, we're all playing Monster Hunter.
I will dispute that there is such a thing as way too much Monster Hunter, but yes.
Okay. We are playing Monster Hunter still. And
this will probably be like this
Dragon
for the
Ball
next few months. You're gonna pick up Dragon Ball at some point?
Yeah. I'm also Let's Playing Shantae's Half Genie Hero. Finally hop back into that. I'm going to be doing all the DLC and stuff like that I haven't actually touched at all since the game came back out in 2016?
Late 2016, yeah.
Yeah. So that's something that I've been doing. I'm doing on my Let's Play channel and stuff. So that's it. That's pretty much all I've been playing, really.
Okay. I guess I'll hop in quick. Aside from Monster Hunter, obviously, been playing a little game called Splatoon 2.
Ooh.
And been streaming that very infrequently because of Monster Hunter. I think I'm on the final hub area of the single player from where I left off. I'm really liking the single player. I feel like it maintains what Splatoon 1's single player did well, but like it's the typical sequel. It just amplifies it. I feel like a lot of the stage gimmicks in Splatoon 2 here for the single player are a lot more varied and a lot more interesting. There's a couple points in the game where you're forced to use like a certain weapon type to get through the stage. I think you could go back and replay them and pick whatever, but on your first go, it's like, hey, I need data on the sniper. Can you use it? and then you have to use it for the whole stage, or vice versa and stuff. And I think I like the boss battles in this game better too. They seem a little more, I don't want to say difficult, but like some of them were actually kind of challenging at first. I'm like, oh god, how am I actually gonna do this type of deal? And it's just been fun. I still got like one whole world left to do, and I'll be doing that when I am able to stream again. I have not touched multiplayer yet, though, which means I haven't been able to try out the actual multiplayer or Salmon Run. Because in order to play Salmon Run, A, you gotta make sure it's open because it's on a set schedule, and B, you gotta be like level 4 online before you can even do that.
So are you staying fresh?
Well, you're not staying fresh in this one. It's something off the hook.
Oh no.
No, because instead of Callie and Marie, we've got Pearl and Marina. But yeah, I'm gonna finish it on stream, and maybe on stream also do a little more multiplayer, because I think after that I'll do the rest off stream, play a little bit more, because I'm just renting Splatoon 2. I am having fun with it, but you can play Monster Hunter for stealing my time away from that game and even Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Thanks, Monster Hunter. You're great, but can you stop?
God, I played the first hour of Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and I was just like, oh yeah, I like this. The voice acting was getting to me, but I was gonna continue on, and then I just stopped, and I don't know why. I guess Monster Hunter came out, that's why.
Yeah, that is why. I think I had a worse case with Xenoblade Chronicles 1, though, where it took me like maybe 4 or 5 years to put the game back in and finish it.
At least you did. Like,
yeah, but
I can still say that.
It was just some weird long break, and I don't know why I stopped. And then when I got near the end of the game, my Wii disk drive fucking died. Xenoblade killed my Wii, and I had to get it repaired. It was too powerful. I was able to finish the game, though, back then, because I was able to transfer my save data through an SD card to Wii U. That's actually one of the games you can transfer save data like from SD card instead of like having it being embedded on like Monster Hunter Tri, or like even the last story, unfortunately, has that.
Well, you see, Unreal, that is the Monado's power.
To kill my system, like it wouldn't.
The true
read,
end game of the
thing is, it would not read Wii games, but it kept reading GameCube games. But then that eventually stopped working. But everything
it should meet my Bloodborne disc.
Oh no. But everything's fixed now. I think the Wii's just louder now with discs in it, but it works. It's better than losing all my save data, especially on Tri. I will guard this damn thing with my life. But other than that, I don't even remember if I talked about Secret of Mana according to the voice acting of that game, and not my personal beliefs.
Hey, little Karibo said it's Mana. He said it.
Well, tell that to the
Well, I'm gonna fight
directors.
him. How about that?
Tell that to the Square directors that tell them to pronounce it like that. And I'm like,
You could say they pronounced it like that.
thing is, I don't remember if I talked about it last podcast at all, because I only played up to.
I think it was just me ranting.
Okay, I'm not gonna go into super detail because I need to play more. Monster Hunter again has been stealing my time away from streaming that too and playing.
Oh, you've been playing Shadow of the Colossus too. Platinum.
I talked about that last podcast.
Oh, you did. Okay.
But update, platinum the game. Yep.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna bother with the 79 coins. It's just like I don't.
Oh, I will.
I know you would, but like it just seems less incentivized for me to like do a menial task to collect. I mean, I've dealt with GTA 4 pigeons, but like not right now. Not right now. I don't want to do anything of that scale right now. But yeah, Splatoon 2 was the big new game to talk about on the podcast that isn't Monster Hunter, at least for me. So I'm pretty much clear on that end.
I think I'll go next, because we're both talking about sequels. Something I've been doing with my girlfriend is we've gone back and we're playing through a couple series of games that we both enjoy. You guys probably know about this because I've streamed it a couple of times, but I don't know if anyone who just like sees my YouTube channel would know this, but I enjoy the Gran Turismo games. Not too long ago, my girlfriend and I played all the way through Gran Turismo 2. I was going to talk about this earlier, but Monster Hunter came out, Secret of Mana Remake came out, so now I'm going to talk about it.
How are the car physics in Gran Turismo?
Well, it is a realistic driving simulation.
Except the time where one of the AI just gave up driving.
Yeah, that happens sometimes if they hit the wall at a certain angle.
Well, if it's a realistic driving sim, we can just assume the driver's just dead in the car from the impact.
Of course. Although, that is one thing I will say about the car physics, is that the braking seems to work a little better in Gran Turismo 2 than it does in 1. Also, front-engine rear-wheel cars are no longer hot garbage. They don't constantly spin out, except for the Speed 12, which can go fuck itself. That is the one car I've driven which spun out just trying to go in a straight line. Not sure how it managed that, but good job. I mean, there are some obvious ways that Gran Turismo 2 is an improvement on 1, like Gran Turismo 1 had about 200 cars, this has like 650. The original had, I think, 64 races, this has over 200.
You definitely upped the ante for the sequel.
Yeah, this is like one of the... I think it was the first it was the first Gran Turismo game that was split into 2 discs. Because one had the simulation mode on it, and one had the arcade mode on it. I never played the arcade mode for Gran Turismo games, because screw that. But, yeah, another thing they added in this that I actually really liked was rally racing. Which, for those not familiar, rally racing is like, you do some portions on streets, and some portions like on dirt roads. And the physics changes a lot for that. And actually, I have played like Rallycross and Top Gear Rally and other rally-style racing games, and I really enjoy those. So, bit of a soft spot for that in Gran Turismo 2. Okay, I need to explain this first. When they made this game, they rushed it. They really rushed it. Because there are some bad glitches that can happen in this game. Not the least of which being that it's possible to accidentally erase your entire garage. So, like, all the cars that you have will just disappear.
Okay, no, it's not the actual garage just glitches out and it's gone.
Yeah, if you do a machine test 9 times, your garage just completely disappears.
It just ejects from the game.
Or erases itself.
Yeah, there's another thing I think that's kind of weird in this game is that, for those of you who don't know, Gran Turismo, you have to earn various grades of licenses to be able to race on certain tracks and in certain cups. There are 5 licenses in Gran Turismo 2, and the highest one doesn't actually get you into any races. You don't need to get it at all. Like, the only incentive to getting it is something called the event generator, which automatically creates cup races based on whatever car you're currently driving in. Which, kinda neat, but not really much of an incentive for getting the S license. One of the things that was really affected when they rushed this out was they put in a thing where you have various restrictions on what cars you can take into certain cups. This was in the other game too, like you can't take 4-wheel drive cars into the front engine front wheel cups. That's pretty broken in this. Like, most of them still work, but you can take like heavyweight cars into lightweight cup races. The station wagon cup is completely broken. You can take pretty much anything into that and just blow away and start lapping station wagons on any of the cup
How did
races.
this happen? They had a 2-year window to make this game work. Since like Gran Turismo came out in what, 97? December 97?
Can't remember exactly. Maybe. Because it was rushed for the holiday season.
Yeah, it came out in December 23rd, 1997, and then Gran Turismo 2 came out December 11th, 1999. So it had almost 2 years in the oven.
Well, it may have been that they weren't expecting the first Gran Turismo to be a hot item, so they weren't even planning for the sequel at that point.
Gotcha. Yeah,
Then people
after
start
a
buying
year,
it, and
they're
they're like, oh shit, we gotta cash in!
Yeah. Actually, to think about it, like back in those days, like a game cycle of development actually, like 2 years was relatively short back then. Like a lot of the times developers took a lot more time to make their games. Nowadays, it's like, yo, what we call short is like 6 months.
One thing I did like is in adding a bunch of events and races, they added dealer and model specific events. Because otherwise, there are like these hundreds of cars in the game that you're just never going to race in. You basically buy them and either just try to collect them in your garage or sell them back to get credits to upgrade whatever car you're on now, or buy the car after that and just sell the other one, and it's a vicious cycle. So I appreciate that they did that, because Gran Turismo 2 has a bunch of the like really small economy cars that basically look like clown cars. So you take these ridiculously small cars onto these big ass race courses and you're moving at like a blistering 50 miles an hour. It's basically like racing as the mini Oregon from Monster Hunter Tri.
But the hitbox is still like gigantic.
Like you'll still like even though you're smaller, you try to take corners with the hitbox, they'll just say no, you just crash despite not really hitting anything.
So they added that, but there were things that they took away from the first game that I really didn't like. The first game had these things called spot races, where you could just enter a race, win a little money, and then go back and upgrade your ride. But those are gone in Gran Turismo 2. Also, they took out qualifying. So in the first Gran Turismo, you could like qualify 1 through 6, and if you got pole position, you would get a money bonus. And in Gran Turismo 2, they don't have that. Every race, you start off in 6th place. The cups in this game, Gran Turismo 1, when you did a cup, you had to like do each race in sequence, and in this game, you can just do them all separately and win the cup. So, huge part of the challenge eliminated from that. It's possible to farm bonus cars for winning races way too easily. Like, you can just do one race over and over, get the money bonus for winning it, get the bonus car, and then sell that, which some of the bonus cars sell for like hundreds of thousands of credits. So you can just like do that once, buy a car, fully upgrade it, and then repeat the cycle. And that just made progressing way too fast and way too easy.
Is this like a pyramid scheme, but with Gran Turismo cars?
Kind of, yeah. But even with all the cars, the garage can fill up way too fast. And I'm like a complete pack rat when it comes to cars, so I want to hold on to as many as I can, but like not even halfway through the game I hit the cap, and I had to start selling stuff off.
Or just wait till they disappear.
Yeah, just do machine test 9 times and your garage is completely empty.
Yeah. Just clear the garage. Sounds like you like break the cars and just compact them and then boom, you're done. That's how you stress test the engines.
I mentioned the licenses earlier. You have to do like a series of tests to earn those licenses, and I felt like they were way too easy compared to the first game's license tests. Like, I just went back to it like an hour before this podcast just to make sure I wasn't imagining shit. I went to the super license after having not played this game for over a month, and I passed one of the tests on the first try with over a second and a half to spare. Those are supposed to be the ones where you're like grinding it out for every 10th of a second, but nah, I passed it pretty easily. They made a weird change after every race and every license test attempt, which is it'll force you into the replay of the race you just did, and then you can like hit a button to hit continue or exit. But if you fail a license test, it'll force you into the replay and then give you the same screen and not give you a retry option. So you'll have to hit exit, wait for the game to load back to the license test menu, then hit the test again, wait for it to load, and then do the test again. It just seemed kind of ass backwards to not have any sort of retry option.
Well, second game in the series, unless it's a step back from the original.
It's a step back.
Oh.
The first game was better about this.
Oh no.
What's also a step back is their saving system. Like, ordinarily there's this like hub world, and you can go to your garage and that'll allow you to do things like manage your cars, save your game, look up your stats, whatever. yeah, that save in the garage thing is not in Gran Turismo 2, so you either have to remember to do it after every single race, or you have to back out to the title screen and then hit save. More on the sort of glitchy end of the spectrum. Well, the first half of this isn't a glitch, but the second is. Every time you play a race in this, there's like a set track list of songs for the game, but instead of going through each of them, it just keeps replaying the same song over and over. I think that was a problem in GT1 too. But there are endurance races in this game, which mean you'll be listening to the same song for like an hour and a half to 2 hours. On a related note, I never want to hear the song Super Bon Bon again.
Well, to be fair, you kind of dubbed over with Eurobeat instead.
That was only when I was streaming it.
Still, I mean, I guess it gets rid of Bon Bon.
Super Bon Bon.
Super Bon Bon, yeah.
Also, whenever a song repeats, the game noticeably slows down.
It's got to read the disc.
It's got to
read. This is a PS1 game, right?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, it's got to
At
read
least
the
it
disc.
doesn't just like as like the race is starting, goes 3, 2, 1, then says loading, and then you take off. Like that could be like the worst thing, where it's like, wait, we need to play the song.
Well, actually, there was a WWE game where this was on PlayStation. Every time somebody came out for the Royal Rumble, the game would have to stop and load that person into the game, which meant that 30 times during the match, it would stop and have to load somebody.
And that's between like 10 to 30 seconds each load, right?
Right.
Oh.
Anyway, Gran Turismo 2. This was a problem in the first one, but it seemed more egregious in this one too, which is there's a problem with draw distance. Like some stuff will appear, and then there will be just this tunnel where the environment is supposed to be that pops in much later than everything else. And when you're on a track with like elevation changes or bridges, and you get like decently far ahead, cars just look like they're flying. That happened in the first one too, but it seemed more egregious in this one. Another glitch in this game is there's a like stats to track your progress. I have a bugged early release copy, so I can't 100% the game. It's just not possible.
Oh.
If you have the European version, you can get 100.9%. So
Well, they fixed the bug. With
Yeah, they
another
did
one.
They apologized so hard they gave you extra stuff to
Extra
go the extra
10%.
mile.
they actually were like saying you could take your bug copy, send it to us, and we'll give you like a better programmed copy.
It's almost like the Donkey Kong Country games where you could get like 102%.
But that was intentional.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like the
I don't
GT
think
thefts
the
all like, we
109
need to
was
do that
intentional.
to make up for it.
Oh, I will say there is actually one hilarious glitch where there's this like go-kart mini golf style course that you can get, and if you approach a certain wall from a certain angle, you can drive through it and just keep going off into infinity. And it causes bizarre shit to happen with the camera and your car. I may just have one stream someday where I do that glitch and just see how far I can go. Just to see what happens. Kind of like that one guy who tried going to the edge of the world in Minecraft. But overall, while there's more shit to do in Gran Turismo 2, ultimately I wound up liking the first Gran Turismo better. I'm not sure why. Maybe better soundtrack, maybe it's that they had less of a shotgun approach to putting cars in the game. Like more focused events. I can't really put my finger on what it is. Maybe it's like the license sets were more of a challenge, so I enjoyed those more. But ultimately I enjoyed 1 more than 2. And I'm currently going through 3, so maybe someday on this podcast I'll like explain how I feel about that. But so far I kind of have the same feeling about just shelling out bonus cars at a ridiculous rate. So that's it for me.
Okay, I guess that just leaves me then. I actually just before we even started the podcast, I finally started a game that I've had for a while, and that was Tales of Berseria. Of course, this isn't actually going to be part of the retrospective because I said in that series that I'm going to stop at Cisteria because Cisteria is like the last game you can actually get for the PlayStation 3 North America. So that's kind of like my stipulation for that rule. if that makes any sense.
Mhm.
But I only played like about an hour and a half of Berseria, so I don't have a whole lot to say. Oh, and I also played the demo before too, back when it came, just before it came out, I think, which was like, oh, that was like over a year ago now. Yeah, that's how old this game is already. But in terms of like a modern Tales game, it's pretty good so far. I like the look of the game, and the main character so far I'm liking a lot, because not only is she voiced by Christina V, who did Shantae and stuff, which is pretty funny to think, especially what happens to her character in this game. I'll just say that. But she definitely does a good performance there too.
Her name's Velvet, right? The main character?
Yeah,
it's been
Velvet.
a while since I've played Berseria.
Yeah, I know, like a year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've only started now, so.
Yeah,
You're catching up. You're catching up.
Yeah.
Her character design is actually really cool too.
It is. It's a little bit ridiculous, but at the same time,
yeah.
it's still. I'd say it's fine for
You want ridiculous?
the character she is.
God. There's actually a character design I recently saw from Dissidia that's ridiculous. Her name is Shuttlecock. That's not her name, but her outfit looks like a shuttlecock.
Like, in terms of the story, I'm obviously not really that far. I'm still in, like, I guess the intro. Although I got to the part where it's like things happen and you see the character's main motivation. And believe me, it really is a big motivation that she has. And you'll understand why she's like that.
Yeah, that scene was censored in the English or the North American version.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I just like obviously we won't talk about the scene, but just sort of like that scene in the Japanese version is a lot more.
I think I know what you may be referring to, because
Yes.
it did seem like there was a scene where at one point it got cut off.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you know pretty much what I'm talking about.
I think so.
Yeah.
But yeah, very far beyond that. So I've only done like some of the tutorial battles, but from that and what I recall from the demo, the battle system is actually a little bit revamped in this one, compared to at least like, say, Tales of Xillia and onwards, where it's a lot more combo centric. Like, you use all 4 face buttons to do combos during battles. And while I haven't really gotten a feel for it just yet, because I'm still just kind of button mashing them, but you can link them into special moves, and you can set your own combos. So once I, learn and figure that out, I'm pretty sure I could like do some pretty intricate combos, because it's a system where you have these soul gauges, and that's basically how much combos you can do before your character essentially gets tired out and vulnerable. So, and then I'm sure there's like other mechanics and stuff too that'll be introduced as I play more of the intro. But so far, I'm really enjoying it, which is not really all that surprising, considering I'm kind of the Tales guy here. So,
in that combat system, one thing that I have played sort of numerous ones. Abyss has always been probably the one that sticks out to me the most, the one that I played first, and it plays a lot like Tales of Graces, with like how they set up combos. But you're right, like the idea that you can map the face buttons and have like really, really intricate combos that just go on and on later on in the game, where you're just like, I feel so fucking cool in anime right now. But I worried like halfway through the game that I was like starting to break the game. And it doesn't, I'm not going to say that it ever doesn't feel like, oh wow, I can be overpowered if I just junction things properly. But there is a nice, good difficulty curve that isn't crazy. Like, if you think you can do elaborate shit, the enemies are going to be able to do it to you just as much later on in the game. So
yeah, I'd say that's pretty much a standard difficulty curve for the series in general.
Mm-hmm.
Especially since I'm doing the retrospective, that's kind of what I've been noticing. Well, Tales of Legendia I found to be pretty on the easy side though, but that's kind of going a little off tangent there.
Yeah, please enjoy. I quite enjoyed it. It was a good experience.
Oh, I will.
For
I'll probably actually play this like on my own free time. Like, although I may talk about it briefly in a video, like not necessarily like after the retrospective or anything, because who knows how long that'll be, as like a bonus thing to talk about after the retrospective to see what my full thoughts are on Berseria, but I may still talk about this game to a degree in a video, but we'll get to that in the now playing section. But so far, I'm enjoying this. I'll probably play more of it, and that's that really. And other than that, I've just been playing, our usual Monster Hunter. So
check back next week to see for the Monster Hunter update. Are we still playing? Probably.
I played it only 6 days this week.
Oh shit!
I know, right?
You beat me out. I can't believe it. There actually is one game I forgot about to mention in my segment. You mind if I go into that briefly?
Why not?
It's a little happy accident called Yakuza 6: The Song of Life. Sega made a mistake. So, a couple days ago, they were set to release the demo for Yakuza 6, which is great. But they put the full game out instead. Oops. So I actually, so what I ended up downloading was the full game, but out of respect for the Yakuza franchise, I didn't proceed further in the game past where the demo would have stopped you. But still, I got to play quite a bit of it. Did a lot of the new combat system, which has been changed from all the other Yakuza games, mainly because, number one, there's a new physics system because they're using a whole new engine for Yakuza 6. So a lot of the combat, it still feels like Yakuza, but it's not 60 frames anymore because of the more demanding engine. And since there's physics now, you can punch people so hard they could bounce off the floor and go flying. Not into the stratosphere, but huh?
Tekken combos.
Oh no, you can't air juggle them, but they just get knocked around. My favorite thing about the physics engine though is you could just go into a lot of the stores now. There's no more press a button for a loading screen to open door. You just walk in and go, which is really cool. But what's hilarious is you could actually have fights in these shops if it happens, but that hasn't happened to me because you'd usually have to lead them there for that. But you could just walk around normally. So I walked into chairs and they broke. So I would just go into the fast food place and just slowly walk into chairs and they would just break before my strong legs and knock over tables people are just sitting at. It's great. But I also played a couple of mini games. There's this whole gym routine mini game where you sign up at this, I think it's a real life Japanese gym club. You just get a membership, you work out, you do you work on the machines and stuff, and then afterwards it's okay, go have a healthy meal, take a picture and come back and see if you did it right. We gotta make sure your diet is on track.
Yeah,
you gotta make sure your diet's on track. Sweat it all off.
Bodies.
Then I actually found the live chat mini game where you go into a chat room with real life FMV Japanese model/porn stars. And what you have to do in the mini game is type correctly. Because Kiryu's an old man that doesn't really know how to type on a keyboard. He has to do it finger by finger. The localization is still hilarious because you're going to type stuff where oh no, she's gonna undress, and just in big text, I'm gonna die, and you type that out with the buttons, while Kiryu's face is just completely stone serious in the bottom left corner while he types this stuff. It's Yakuza, basically.
Mm-hmm.
There's still the whole serious story, which a good portion of the demo/game is a lot of cutscenes and story setup, which is still engaging considering I've played all the other games up to this point. But yeah, I was going to go play a little bit more of the game without proceeding. But Sega and Sony revoked the license to those that got the full game for free, which is fine. I'm buying the game still. It's coming out in April, so I can wait at least another month before I can actually dive into Yakuza 6. That way, more time for Monster Hunter. So how does Yakuza 6 sound to you guys based on the bullshit I just said?
It sounds like typical Yakuza stuff, which can still be fun.
But yep, that was my accidental early full game experience with Yakuza 6. Whenever they put the real demo back up, I'll re-download it and play a little bit more. But yeah, I'm hoping it's like really good.
Right, well, you know what I'm hoping is good.
Is this a segue? Is this a segue? Are we
it's
supposed to ask what's good?
It would help.
What's good?
All right, what is good?
Well, not viewer questions, but we're doing that anyway.
Oh no, they could be good.
Yeah, they could be good.
They could be good.
Are they
Well,
good?
Well, we have a question from Ernst Tokes, who says, how much time would you say any one of you has spent in total with Monster Hunter as a whole?
Okay.
Like we're talking all the games or
all
just
the games.
I guess that's all the games, because I don't know how much time I've spent. I've been playing since Try, and my Try file has over 500 hours on it. So,
Okay, here's something I can do.
It's definitely in the hundreds.
Yeah, definitely.
I'll just say right now, there's probably like maybe at least 40 or less for Ultimate in Generations. All I know is out of the ones I sunk my teeth into fully, Generations is the title I had the least time with, because I have the PSP ones, and I haven't really fully sunk into that. But I did play quite a bit of Portable Third, though, for the PS3. Well, it was the PSP like remastered, but you know, I want to say I put at least 300 or so hours into Try, and with World, I'm past 170 hours right now. So maybe I want to say definitely more than 500 hours on Monster Hunter.
let me just throw out this number to give you guys a bit of a frame of reference. The month of January has 31 days in it. That is 744 hours in that month. So if I just counted up every character I played in Try alone, including like the recent streams I was doing, that's approaching 1 month of Monster Hunter continuous play just on that one game. So if I had to like guesstimate how long, like how much time I've invested in all the Monster Hunter games I've played, it's probably approaching like 4 or 5 months.
Yeah. Well, think of it this way. For my perspective, I'm like, all right, I've probably sunk in. Try. I definitely put at least, I'd say about 200 hours into Try. I played a lot of Try. Ultimate 3, I didn't play as much as Try. And I never really played any of the handhelds. I think I had Portable Third, but I never really played it. So
I actually
now I have about
about
110 hours on my character right now. So I'd say about 300, 400 hours, like, just on Monster Hunter. But this, to me, is like, whatever. Because just according to Steam,
Final Fantasy,
Final Fantasy 14, according to Steam, and I know that I played it more than this, is at 1,716 hours. That's what my Steam says I played of Final Fantasy 14. And I know that that's not completely correct. So I will never be like, too much Monster Hunter? No, there's too much of other things that you could do with your life. So to me, it's like, oh yeah, no, I know that I have not put as much time in as definitely some of you guys. That's for sure.
Well, I mean, I didn't in Try. I think it's like around maybe 360-ish hours, if last I recall, maybe. And then 3U, I didn't get a ton of hours in because I kind of missed the train on that one because everyone who had a Wii U when it came out got it and basically played through it. And I didn't get it till a little bit later, so I didn't get much of a chance to play that. I think there's still at least maybe like, I don't know, 40-ish hours maybe on that. And then the PSP ones I haven't really played a ton of, just maybe a little bit of like Freedom Unite. For you, I did play a fair amount. I don't remember the exact hours. Generations I didn't play a ton of though, so I'm kind of been up and down alternating between all the Monster Hunters, at least the ones that I have played. And I actually picked up a copy of Monster Hunter Stories, the RPG spin-off one on 3DS that came out last year. I haven't played that yet though, so I don't know how much I'll even invest into that. But and then of course World is another one where it's just like we're really sinking into, obviously. So I want to say for me it's about roughly at least 500 hours, 500, 600 hours, maybe around that range. That's just my guess.
I actually forgot about 3 Ultimate on my thing, so I might actually be reaching a month's time total.
I could be just under a month too.
In fact, I actually put more time into the PS2 Monster Hunter than I did the PSP ones. I don't know why. And this was like, again, I started with Try, and then I like grabbed all the bunch of the other ones.
The PS2 Monster Hunter is still the only one I don't have. The ones that came out in North America, at least.
Yeah, I am estimating that at least maybe a month's time, or at least a little over a month. So that's a lot of hours, but it ain't no FF14 or World of Warcraft's play.
I never played World of Warcraft. This is
I'm just saying, like, in general for people.
Well, I mean, if you play an
like,
MMO, yeah. An MMO pretty regularly, that's going to add up like crazy.
I don't want to think about how many hours I played EverQuest.
That should be the next viewer question. Which,
I started
speaking
playing that
of,
in like 2001.
oh man,
just alone, just the thought of like that many hours in 14 or whatever, and I just did the math, and it's 71 days. So that's like 2.5 months that I have sat in front of my computer playing a single game. And I know I've played more than that, so it's probably approaching 3 months.
I'm actually
Just of my life. Like 3 months of my life has been dedicated over the course of X number of years of the game being out, of me sitting in front of my computer playing video games.
Jesus.
Yeah.
And I actually don't want to know how much time I spent on Destiny 1. Like, I got the game when it came out. That's when I got my PS4, and I played it regularly. It was basically my Monster Hunter like time sink filler. And then Destiny 2 happened, and then Monster Hunter came out, and I ditched Destiny 2. And I ditched Destiny 2 like months before then. But Destiny 1, I don't even want to know how many hours. I want to say at least over 100 or maybe 200, but I can't find a way to really track that. It just feels like I spent a lot of time than I would like to admit on that game, honestly.
Alright, well, there's actually a second part to this question, which is, would any one of you see Monster Hunter World keeping you invested long enough to surpass any previous titles in playtime? And all I can say on that is, it really just depends how long Capcom supports it. I mean, I don't know if I'll play this as long as I did Try, just because it feels like I'm getting through it much faster than I did with Try.
Well, keep in mind, there's still like DLC and stuff coming up for it.
Yeah. Oh, but it
I
also
think
has to work into the fact that the DLC, how fast the DLC comes out, right? Like if we're getting constant updates, either monthly or like every 2 months, like bi-monthly, then like, yeah, I'll probably at least boot up Monster Hunter, once every couple of days.
I think the other reason is that, unlike previous installments, there's no separate quest list for single player and multiplayer. It's all the same. So there's naturally less because they didn't double up this time. Like there aren't quests where it's strictly single player. Well, there's like one quest in the whole game that's solo only, and that's like to get like a cat item. But in general, all the quests are
two. There's two if you count that first Jagras mission.
Or like the very, very introduction when you boot up the game before you even access online. But in general, there's nothing separating getting multiplayer people into your quest this time. Whereas last time it's like, well, you've got all the village quests and now you have all the gathering hall quests. Not anymore.
If like there's this whole thing right now with the whole idea that someone leaked the monster list for all the downloads and stuff, where there is actual proof that certain monsters are like, there's that weird Azure Kirin, like that black Kirin instead of the white Kirin. It's like in the game files, like its name is in there. So we may be getting like alternate versions of real monsters with the Devil Joe expansion, which would be good because it isn't just like, oh look, we fought Devil Joe, we fight him like 10-15 times and now we have everything for him.
Yeah, I imagine. Yeah, that would make sense to like have something else along with the Devil Joe to keep us busy.
Yeah, like maybe give us that like Ice Bear Off or something. Actually, I guess if they'd have to release a proper Tundra area for that. But even then, like if they they released at least a couple more monsters or new weapons, holy crap! I would love the fact that like I'm a hammer user and I really miss my Rathalos hammer. I would love that they would add extra weapons and stuff like that. So that's the thing is if the game doesn't update in like every 5 months, I don't know how much staying power it will have for me after this honeymoon period has settled.
Well, if I recall back in Try, we played a lot of it when it around the time it came out, and then I remember we were a little bit on and off with it. Like we would play a lot of it in big bursts, and then we would stop playing for just a bit. But then we would get back to it when we had that itch again to play more of it again. And then just before the servers of Try shut down, we basically played it like one last time all together online. So I think that culminated into what made Try our most played game throughout the few years we played it. But in terms of world, I could potentially see it being at least equally matching the amount of time we put into Try, because I think most of us have at least 100 hours into it, or around 100 hours into it so far.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And keep in mind what I said earlier, like with Try, I recall having at least like 300 or so hours into that. So at the rate we're going, I could potentially see it surpassing that. Now, there probably will be eventually a burnout period where we're just like, okay, let's just take a break. We've done the DLC, or we gotta wait for DLC. We've done everything that we wanted to do, type of thing. But then I could see us jumping back into it when they introduce something new, like you said. It's definitely something that I could see being potentially our most played Monster Hunter.
Oh yeah, no, I probably agree with you on that one too. It's if the DLC is coming out in regular intervals, we're gonna have 500 hours plus in this thing.
Right. Well, if anyone else out there has some questions that they want to have answered on the podcast, you can ask in the YouTube comments on the site upload, or you can ask us on our Facebook page, facebook.com/RiverCityGamers. You can also ask us on
Shout Engine.
Are you still doing that?
Doing
thing?
what?
What you just did there.
What I just did where? Anyway, you can comment
You
there
can just...
too.
No, forget it.
It's there. It happened already, Blondie.
Yeah, we were there, but here now, and here is what's new. So who wants to go first, talking about what games you're looking forward to, what videos you're working on, what have you? No one!
I went first before, so I guess I'll go first again. Currently, the only game that I'm like really, really looking forward to is the new BlazBlue that comes out in June, so it's pretty far away. I am keeping my eyes on Detroit 2 Human or whatever. Not 2 Human. It's something human.
2 Human.
Shit, whatever that thing is. It's Detroit Human something or...
yeah, it's the new David Cage game, right?
Yeah, because I have a soft spot for Indigo Prophecy and Heavy Rain and all the memes that are generated from those, but like when I saw it was the only thing at the PlayStation like experience conference thing that was remotely interesting. The rest of the conference was boring as hell.
Hey, they revealed that medieval remaster remake thing.
That I guess that, but that was just sort of like, yo,
we're doing it.
Here's a screenshot. Here's a screenshot of the logo.
Sir Daniel was singing Hallelujah chorus. That was beautiful.
Hey, logos work for Metroid, and they also work for Bayonetta 3.
They do. But yeah, those are really the only things that I have my eyes on, like, tentatively. Like, I'm fairly sure the Detroit game comes out in April or May.
It comes out in May. I'm probably gonna rent it because after Detroit 2 Souls, we're gonna become human now.
Yeah, two human Detroit souls.
2 human. We already got 2 human though.
Yeah,
yeah, you already said that earlier.
Yeah, Detroit, more human than human.
Yeah, but yeah, like, and as for videos that I'm working on, I'm actually working on a review right now. I'm also working on episode 11 of an abridged series that has not had an episode in a really, really long time. But I'm having some editor's block on that one, and I'm only through the first draft. I'm going to be talking about Ruby Grim Eclipse, sort of on a Ruby kick right now from the guys from Rooster Teeth. It's their sort of anime volume short that they release yearly. So I was like, I'll pick up the game because I just finished Volume 5, and I have a lot to talk about when it comes to that game. And I don't know, as a fan of the series versus it as an actual functional game via its price point, I'm really interested to get a little bit deeper into that. And as for the abridged series, like I said, editor's block happens a lot because it's a little bit different than a review, where it's really just you talking or doing a couple of extra skits with gameplay behind. Whereas in getting lip flaps and fighting your own anxiety that it's been so long since I've made a new episode of this, is anybody gonna care that I made it, is a difficult thing. But that seems to be pretty much it on the front when it comes to that type of stuff. There's some stuff that I may be in that Zero is working on the next little while, but I don't know how much I'm allowed to talk about it, so I'm just gonna say that. And
You're under embargo for that.
Fucking NDAs.
Yeah, I don't know. Just on the side of caution, or I guess hype, or whatever side you want to talk about. But yeah, it's pretty much it. I can't think of any other games that after Broke January. Yeah, I may end up picking up Dragon Ball Fighters at some point. I've been watching and keeping an eye on it, and I'm like, I need a fighting game, because Dissidia, as much fun as Dissidia NT is, there's like no one playing it. So you always get the same people, or you just get like ZPUs on your team, and then you get wrecked by like a group of 3 people. And it has hardly a storyline to even sink your teeth into. So
don't you have to like unlock cutscenes and then you have to go back and like what the fuck?
Yeah, it's really weird. Like it's not as bad when you get later on into the story, because the blocks sort of are like three blocks. So you unlock a block and then you have a cutscene, and then you do a single player fight, and then you get another cutscene with just one of the tokens. It's not like each one of that 3 block is a token, where it's like a cutscene, then you have to unlock a fight, and then unlock another cutscene, like the follow-up to it. It's still not a good system, but it's just pretty much there for you to be like, yo, play the fucking video game. Like that's... Instead of it just
one
being
is playing the video game online,
because it's based off an arcade game that didn't have a single player to begin with anyway. At least they added something to the port to the PS4. But yeah, no, my fighting game itch, and I don't know if I can last until June for BlazBlue cross battle. I think that's pretty much it.
All right, well, I'll go next. Now, there are actually a few different things that I'm working on. If anyone's been following my channel, the reason I'm posting a bunch of Fearless videos is because those act as like my buffer for when things go awry or I don't have time to work on my other stuff, which is why I haven't posted like my Zangeki no Regular playthrough's next part. Yeah, I had just a moment I was working on, then Elgato started getting wonky on me, but I got that fixed now. Long story short is, pretty soon I'm going to have either a Just a Moment or the first Hindsight Miscellanea in a long time, because I found an article in a magazine and I just said, I gotta do something with this. This is just too good of material to let go to waste. I'm not gonna say what it is. Most of you guys know what it is, but
Yeah.
But I'm gonna keep it a surprise. I also have a $5 gaming in the works, but the game that I'm playing right now is way more time consuming than I thought it was going to be. So that is going to be... I may just have to take an entire day to marathon my way through like half of that game, because otherwise it is just going to take way too long. It already has taken way too long. What am I talking about? Game-wise, there's not really much I'm looking forward to. There is that Wild Guns Reloaded re-release coming out, but I don't know if I'm going to get that.
Wait, Wild Guns Reloaded?
Yeah, Wild Guns Reloaded.
That came out like a while ago.
Well, I'm talking about the console versions.
On PS4, it got a release.
The Switch one.
Oh, the Switch version. Okay. Sorry, you just need to... I was just waiting for you to specify.
Yeah, I may just, like, get a card off eBay or something. I don't know.
Yeah, but yeah, I got it on PS4, and I think you'll like it. If you like the original Wild Guns, that is.
Yeah, I like the original Wild Guns. But now it's time for me to completely jinx a game's release date. Because it doesn't even technically have one yet. But I'm looking forward to Shaq Fu Legend Reborn.
You're actually unironically looking forward to that?
Yes.
It's Shark Attack, baby. We're back again for a new podcast.
Is he actually going to be voicing it? Because that would be
Yes.
great. Excellent.
He's the main character. How could they not?
I don't know. Sometimes they do these things, but he doesn't have voice clips, or it's a really bad impersonator.
It'd be so weird that
Star Wars.
he came out to announce the game and he isn't involved with it voice-wise. That'd be silly. It's like
He was in the Indiegogo campaign. He was there for the Game Awards announcement. He was there doing motion capture in that goofy-ass green suit with the balls all over it.
got my mocap suit. Kobe can't do shit.
But yeah, now I just jinxed that game and now it's not going to come out till summer.
Oh, great.
So that's...
Good job.
Let's just mention Bloodstained, and then we just won't get that.
Don't, because that'll be delayed.
Yeah, if we're pushing back Kickstarter and Indiegogo campaigns.
Don't push back Indivisible. Oh boy.
That's... Okay, long story short, that's it for me. So, somebody else talk.
Okay, I'll talk.
Go ahead.
Yeah. In terms of games that are coming out recently, outside of what you guys have mentioned, the other ones I can kind of think of that I'm just kind of looking up here is new Kirby games coming out soon for Switch.
For Switch?
Yeah, Star Allies.
Oh, I think a demo's out for it.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I just had to make sure Star Allies was the Switch one. I think a demo was out.
But yeah, that comes out in a couple weeks, and although my brother is most likely going to end up getting it, I might just play with him, but I could get my own copy. I don't know. I'll see. So I do like Kirby too. And even though I don't have an Xbox One or anything really, Sea of Thieves is coming out too this month.
Oh.
So, and it's a
I'm
new
still
rare
gonna
game.
wait.
It's a new rare game. It might be fun, might be cool. The only problem is I don't have an Xbox One and I don't know if it'll be able to run on my computer, so I'll probably have to wait on that one. But I am still interested in potentially getting it.
Yeah, that's the same here with that. I just want to hear a little bit more. It's probably going to be a rental at first, but that's something I definitely want to give a shot.
But yeah, but I still don't have an Xbox One, so
Yeah, so I guess I'm just gonna have to deal with the seas by myself and with some others.
hey, eventually when I finally do, then we can play together.
All right, let's see how long that takes.
Hopefully not like more than a year or so. We'll see.
Maybe
I know I take forever with some things.
we're
getting to
mostly
things,
caught up
but,
on Switch, so we won't have to worry about getting another Switch.
Speaking of things taking forever, my videos. I'm still in the writing phases for most of my videos that I'm working on. The next generation project is still being worked on. Although I am going to try and make something new and finally get around to doing something I want to do for quite a while, and that's a top 10 video. And even though it's March by now, I do want to make a top 10 on my games of 2017. And I did mention I played Tales of Berseria, so you might see that on the list, just as a little not so subtle hint on what one of the entries will be on there. But there's that.
Wasn't that a 2016 game?
No, Berseria released in January in North America.
Oh right,
2017.
it got buried by Yakuza on fucking RE7. Jeez, that was a crazy January.
Yeah, no kidding. It wasn't just this January that was crazy. But other than that, I'm just gonna keep doing my usual thing. Outside of reviews, there's actually gonna be a couple things too. You might see some stuff I did with Zero Master on his LP channel that I actually was, because he actually visited me, recorded stuff. So you'll probably see stuff that I've been actually directly involved in on his Let's Play channel, and maybe even his other videos too. We kind of did stuff, other recording bits here as well. So you'll probably see me on his stuff here and there eventually. Hopefully someday at least. And lastly, next week, as of this podcast, I'm actually going to be heading to a convention with Zero Master. It's actually the LGLX convention in Toronto. It's basically a gaming convention, but one of the main reasons why we're going is because pretty much the entirety of like the Normal Boots and Hidden Block guys are going to be there. So if you're a fan of like those YouTube game reviewers, it's definitely probably worth checking out. And that's pretty much what's upcoming for me.
For game releases in the next few months, pretty sure last podcast I mentioned Ni no Kuni 2 and even Yakuza 6. Still no real pivot there. And this doesn't really count, but there is a game, an unreleased N64 game or port that's being kickstarted. And I ended up backing that, and they're slating September for that, but that's like a ways off. It's the N64 port of 40 Winks, or I think in other countries it's like Rough and Tumble, I think it's called. So yeah, that's all the way in September, allegedly, for that port. I mean, why not? But not much. Like, my big release that I'm waiting for is Yakuza 6. Ni no Kuni 2 is later this month, though. And that's gonna... hopefully it's good. Video wise, nothing much. By the way, SCR, we still need to write our collab.
2000XX.
Yep, exactly. That's our supposedly weekly podcast check-in on if we made progress on this collaboration.
If you guys don't finish this review by the time I get an Xbox One, I'm just gonna constantly be hounding you guys just like Zero.
Hey, eventually it might work.
We'll see.
If I'm able to release my episode of my Abridged series again, you guys got to do it.
That's more likely going to come out than our thing at this rate.
I'll make Outlaw Rap Star episode 2 before this happens.
God.
We just need to write. We've recorded everything. I don't understand. Oh, writing is hard, I guess.
It is, but it's just something you just got to get to. And that's something I need to get to too. But
I mean, at least now with SCR's new computer, editing should be at least less stressful now, right? Granted, you transferred the footage, right?
And that brings us to the end of the RiverCityGamers Podcast.
Don't you dare! No, you better not have.
I'm SCXCR.
I'm Unreal, and you better have not lost that footage.
I'm Blondeguygamer.
I'm CanadianJutsu.
I'm not spending 4 hours transferring everything again because we can't do it through Skype anymore, and we couldn't do it through Discord because there's a limit.
The music plays us off.
Yeah. Yeah, just fade me out during that.
We'll make videos eventually, we swear.
Yeah. We're good at it. We promise.
No, I'm the worst. These guys have good content. Sub them. Don't sub me. Please. End the podcast.
Actually do.